You Deserve Validation, Chapter 46 of the Medical Medium Brain Saver book. Before COVID, there was already a form of social distancing that had been going on for decades. This was social distancing practiced by people suffering with chronic illness and neurological symptoms. Some chronic symptoms and conditions don't cause people to withdraw. UTIs, chronic sinus infections, a thyroid disorder, a physical injury to the ankle or knee, an achy back, bloating, skin conditions such as mild eczema, psoriasis, acne, unless they're severe. These ailments often still allow people to live their lives. People may feel uncomfortable or be unhappy about their weight gain, hair loss, or bloating. They may not want to be on the beach, yet they're able to keep going about their days. They don't tend to back down from social engagements. I disagree with this on the bloating. I think there's a lot of people out there who will avoid social interactions because of the bloat, because I know I did. Yeah. Something different happens when people have a problem that involves the brain, the central nervous system, the nerves. When neurological symptoms pass from mild to more moderate, people tend to pick and choose which social engagements they attend with family or friends. It's hard enough to live with neurological symptoms such as tingles and numbness, fatigue, OCD, seizures, anxiety, depression, dizziness, vertigo, brain fog, migraines, eye floaters. It's that much harder to be around people who may be challenging, whether they're family members or friends, when you don't feel well and you're struggling neurologically. Whoa. You guys, it is winter. It is cold. And I just found a freaking ladybug. And it's alive and moving. That is insane. That is unheard of right now. It's January. That's crazy. And it's moving, and it's kind of like creeping me out because I'm like, are you the only one of your kind? It takes a lot out of a person. You're experiencing the symptom, trying to live with it and cope, so a natural progression of backing out of social engagement occurs. Someone in your life may witness this withdrawal from social engagement and ring the alarm bells without understanding that you just don't feel well. If you aren't already on the doctor and testing search, this worry from others can be what prompts your search. With mysterious neurological symptoms, most people around you think, just go to the doctor and get fixed. It's not that easy. This alone, knowing that your symptoms won't make sense to others, can prompt social distancing. I definitely agree with that piece. When neurological symptoms are centered more around the brain itself, that's when the social engagement really declines. The more severe your brain fog is, the less you're going to be in a hurry to communicate with others. You're conversing with a friend and the friend is detecting your brain fog and says something. Many times this can cause shame, frustration, and anger because you're feeling misunderstood. It's not your fault. You already have it hard enough. When someone misinterprets your brain fog, it can be very difficult. On the other hand, explaining your symptoms to loved ones and coworkers doesn't always seem to go well. You can feel even more misunderstood. Mysterious symptoms getting in the way of trying to live your life normally can end up taking freedoms away that other people can't relate to. Often people with brain-related neurological symptoms have to pick up and choose the time and energy they spend with others. Who's the safer person to spend the energy and time with? Who won't judge you if you speak about your symptoms, brain fog, inability to articulate well, inability to sleep well, fatigue levels? Part of what makes neurological symptoms mysterious is that you'll often look perfectly fine to somebody else from the outside. Unless a neurological symptom has gotten so severe that it shows itself physically, it looks as if nothing is wrong. When neurological symptoms do start to show themselves, people tend to retreat more. People learn their limitations. For example, if someone's neurological fatigue is coming on and they can't keep holding themselves up while standing in conversation with someone else, they're going to wrap up the conversation and say, "I've got to go." Oftentimes with neurological symptoms, people have to gauge how much energy they have for everything they have to do. Grocery shopping, for instance, can be a massive undertaking for someone with neurological symptoms. If you run into someone at the grocery store who engages you in conversation, it can take every single thing out of you. Wow, I remember grocery shopping being so difficult. I remember having to work my way up to grocery shopping and basically pep talk myself, which is insane because now I can just go no problem. Don't even think about it. Most health professionals who haven't been in the shoes of someone with neurological symptoms cannot relate to this. They think a patient with neurological symptoms should still have more than enough energy and strength to get to a doctor's office, wait in a waiting room, and undergo examination and testing. Patients with neurological symptoms are misunderstood even by physicians. If the physician are strong and are experiencing neurological symptoms themselves. When a younger person starts to develop neurological symptoms, it can be a particular struggle to be misunderstood. A child with neurological symptoms often gets dismissed as having behavioral issues or autism. Then there are times when behavioral issues are coinciding with the fact that a child has neurological symptoms we associate with adults. A child cannot always express their tingles and numbness, their aches and pains, their dizziness, their brain fog, their inability to receive information and formulate the right words when expressing themselves. Honestly, even adults struggle to do this. If a child is clearly exhibiting sickness and all tests conclude no definitive cause, the child or even teenager could be told they're making it up. Teenagers suffer with body pain, fatigue, and brain fog will be told they're making it up more often than adults. These teens will be told it's a mental issue and they need a psychiatrist. This used to happen more with adults. Women especially were told they were crazy, making it up, bored, lazy, or that it was a cry for attention. Nowadays, it's like this adult version has been casted on teenagers and children who describe mysterious neurological symptoms and yet seem to check out okay. The more complex the neurological issue becomes for someone of any age, or the more complicated it gets with multiple symptoms, the more difficult it is for someone to function. Then you have no choice other than to withdraw. The people you choose to spend time with have to be more understanding, otherwise you're less likely to communicate with them. This is when your contact list of people who will understand dwindles. Many people with brain-related neurological conditions only have a few people they end up talking to when they used to talk to 30. This is rarely discussed because the chronically ill tends to be swept under the carpet. There's monumental discrimination against the chronically ill. I do agree with this, but I also agree that when you're on a healing journey and you're on the healing path, there's also a lot less people in your life. I used to have so many friends. At least I thought they were my friends, but then I got onto this path and it dwindled. It really did. A lot of people don't want to hear your success stories. And I think it comes down to them really not wanting to change. And a lot of people want to complain about their symptoms and their conditions, but they don't want to do the work to put it in. So when they hear that you put in the work, they don't want to hear that. That's my take. I'm open to another perspective, but so far that's how it feels. We're now heading to a place where neurological symptoms are going to be far more common than ever before. And I don't know when this book was written, but we already see that now, right? especially once you get healthy, once you heal, you see it everywhere, and pretty much every single person. You see that they have some form of symptom or condition. So many individuals are going to have neurological symptoms that the world is going to be forced to shift. People without neurological symptoms are going to be the minority. The majority will be people with neurological symptoms. It has already started, and in the next 5 years, we're going to see more chronic neurological symptoms than ever before in history of humankind on this planet. There's still going to be a wall up between the not so sick and the sick. In the new normal, those who are not so sick with neurological symptoms will still appear to be functioning and living their lives. The people who are sick with neurological symptoms are going to have to withdraw and practice social distancing. As ever, it's a fine line between the not so sick and the sick, between the brain fog and severe brain fog, between mild neurological symptoms occurring in the background and pronounced neurological symptoms getting in the way of life. That difference in severity of symptoms can be the difference between making a phone call and not being able to make any calls. It can be the difference between driving a car and not being able to drive at all. People with brain-related and nervous system-related symptoms tend to be branded as sensitive. The truth is that they are sensitive, rightfully so. They're struggling with neurological symptoms, yet when called sensitive by others, it's kind of an insult. See, this is where I'm starting to feel like I have grown more than the medical medium books. Like I've grown above the medical medium books, because I think medical medium has really great information on health. I feel like on a mind level, he's not there. This is very much all the physical level. So this is saying like it's kind of an insult, like, you get to choose how you perceive things. I'm not saying that this is wrong, but I am saying that we choose. We choose how we want to perceive words, our life, our experiences. We get that choice. So to say it's an insult, I feel like this is more opinion. Neurological symptoms tend to be labeled as psychological without an understanding that our mental health is rooted in the physical health of our brain and nervous system. People around someone with neurological symptoms tend to think there are mental issues involved instead of real physical symptoms with a real physical cause. When you have neurological symptoms, you've gone through a lot. You've lost freedoms in your life. You haven't been allowed to fully express yourself. Play reindeer games. I don't know what that means. Live your life to its maximum. Play tennis with your friends. Go on hikes, dance, exercise, and travel. You've been withheld. You've lost friends and become distanced from certain family members. As a result of the many small wounds of losing these freedoms compounded on top of one another, you could get PTSD. A psychological component could develop. Yet it has nothing to do with the symptoms you've been facing all along, meaning you don't have neurological symptoms because you're psychologically causing them. Any PTSD or psychological effect you experience from living with a neurological condition are on top of the neurological conditions you were dealing with in the first place. It's rare to find validation and support for this understanding, so here's what's important to remember. You are stronger than you know for being able to push through, survive, and live with your symptoms. It takes a special ability and profound power. That's the end of the chapter. Let me read 2 quotes. You can feel like an oddity when you recover from chronic illness. What you should be is hurdled? What you should be is hurdled? I don't know. But I do feel this way, that you feel like an oddity. You do. You feel extremely odd, the odd one out. It's like, hey, I healed from 40 plus symptoms and conditions. And people are like, okay. I'm like, oh, okay. You can imagine your brain as a tiny spaceship flying through the universe. Your neurons are billions of tiny aliens inside that spaceship, all communicating together. At the same time, there's a supreme being on the ship watching all of it. That's your soul. All right, and we are officially into the last part of this book called Brained and Confused. Till next time, much love and happy healing.